let's start with a little bit of review. So this is what we did last time, where we were learning about the basics of short-term loans or installment loans. Again, installment loans are where you have a fixed payment amount over a period of time, monthly payment, to pay off a specific purchase that you couldn't buy with cash all at once. So, standard practice, the 6 things that you want to be able to answer about an installment loan. A lot of these things will be given to you, so some of them will be as obvious as you think they are, alright? Alright, so, in this first example, I bought a tractor. It was a $1,050 tractor. The tractor was built in 1952. That's why it's only $1,050. I didn't have to put anything down, and I paid $100 a month for 1 year for this tractor. So, now, given this loan, find these 6 things out. So, first off, what was my down payment? 0. There's nothing wrong with 0, folks. It's a wonderful number. So, how much did I finance? $1,050, the entire price that I was paying for this particular tractor. What is my finance charge?
$150.
How'd you get that, Alex?
I did 1,200 or 1,200.
Where'd you get 1,200 from now?
Somewhere in the notes.
100 a month per year.
Yeah.
12 months, $100 per month, 1,200 bucks. Minus the 1,050. $150 in finance charges we're paying. What was my deferred payment price? Or how much did I actually spend? $1,200, right? Remember the 2 ways that you can calculate the deferred payment price. You can either take the price plus the finance charge, or you can take the down payment plus your total payments. Either way. What was my monthly payment? When it's obvious, it's obvious. Okay, $100. So, how do we figure out my APR? Now, again, like I said, please remember that APR, you're going to do it a couple of times for the homework. You will not have to do this on the test, okay? Finding APR, it's fun, but it's not something that I'm going to test you on, all right? And again, the reason why is that when you go to the APR tables, the tables are almost illegible. You got to have your magnifying glass out if you need to read it. For those of us who are a little bit older, you definitely got to have the bifocals going because those numbers are small. All right, so the way you calculate the APR is you want to find the finance charge per $100 of amount financed. So you're going to take the finance charge, $150, divided by the amount financed, $1,050, and then per $100 says multiply this number by 100. And then you will always round this number to the hundredths, because that's what the table does, so follow the table. So 14.2857, blah, 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 blah. So this number is 14.29. Please do not tell me that the APR is 14.29%, okay? This is just to get you into the tables, okay? So once you get this number, then you want to find this number in the tables along the row that represents the number of payments you are making. So we go to row 12 because that's the number of payments we're making, and we're looking for this number, 14.29. We keep going. It's not on the first page, not on the second page, not on the third page, not on the fourth page. Is there a fifth page? There is a fifth page. Did we make it to 14.29? What does that mean? What is that, JP? it's more than 21.75%, all right? If I give you a number that is outside the tables, this just means the tables didn't go far enough. In your response to this one, you would say, oh, more than 21.75%. Well, how much is it more than that? We're not sure. We would need more tables to do it, okay? Hopefully on a test I wouldn't give you a problem that wasn't on the tables, but if it's not, I have been known to do that. Alright, so this example is purely up here to show you that if you get outside the tables, what does it mean? It just means it's more than what you can measure with the tables, okay? It's like working back in those earlier tables back in 12 and 13. If I gave you more than 50 periods, we could work with the tables, right? Same concept, alright? But in this case, you at least know that it's more than 21.75%, and I got ripped off, or I'm an idiot. Life in the city, right? Alright, so let's try our next one. I bought a new TV for $850. I financed it for 18 months and had to pay $125 in finance charges. Same problem, same type of problem, except instead of giving you the monthly payment, I give you what the finance charge is. So, find the same 6 pieces of information. How much should I put down this time? If I don't tell you I put anything down, I put nothing down. 0 again. So how much did I finance? $850. What was the finance charge? Nice one starts off like that. Alright, what is the deferred payment price, or what I really paid for this TV? $975. How am I going to find my monthly payment? Exactly. These monthly payments are going to be equal. I have to pay $975. I want them to be equal over 18 months. That's how you will make that amount equal. Take $975 divided into 18 payments. What's my monthly payment for my TV?
$54.17.
What was that?
$54.17.
$54.17. That's not bad, like $50. $50 a month. Alright, so let's see if this one's on the table. Again, APR. The amount that you find, the finance charge, $125, divided by the amount you finance, $850, times 100. $14.71 doesn't bode well, but remember we're on the row 18 this time because I'm taking 18 payments to pay off this particular purchase. What are my two numbers? Again, when you do this, look for a number that's just lower than it and a number that's just higher than it. What's the number just lower than it?
17.75%.
Or 14.64.
Oh, sorry.
And what's the number just higher than it? 14.85. Which one's closer? Why is 64 closer? Right, this one is 0.07 away. How far is this one away? Therefore, this one is closer. The closer one is the winner. So now go up to your percent. What did you say it was again? 17 something?
17.75.
So this would be a 17.75% loan for my TV. Again, probably not all that good. But if you're buying it from Best Buy or something like that, folks, they're going to rip you off as much as they can with finance. Okay? All right, so again, remember, please only use this APR table, the little almost unreadable table, for finding the APR. Okay? All right, now did we make it to calculating the monthly payment given a percentage rate? We didn't do that last time? Okay, so that's the new stuff then. All right, so the last thing I want to buy, let's see, what do I want to buy this time? I buy a, let's just go back to a car. Car for $25,000. It's probably, pick your favorite average $25,000 car. I put 10% down and finance the rest at, let's go with, let's say 8% APR over 4 years. So, this is the last way you may get your loan, a little bit more common. This is how you will normally see your loans shared out to you, saying, oh, what kind of APR can you get? How many years do you want to set up your payments for? But you're still going to give me same pieces of information, okay? What was my down payment for this problem? $2,500. How'd you get that?
10% of 25,000.
10% of 25,000 is 2,500. Good. All right. How much did I finance?
The rest of that.
The rest of it.
2,002 or 22,500.
22,500. Now, normally we have to go to the finance charge. Can I calculate my finance charge right now? I cannot. Why can't I? Because I didn't give it to you, right? One, I didn't give it to you. How is the other way that you calculated finance charge? What would you need to know? How much I was paying each month, right? Have I given you that yet? Well, so yeah, there's no way to calculate finance charge, so we're going to have to come back to that. And that is the same with our deferred payment price. Because that also is dependent upon these things, but monthly payments, this one we can do. All right. We got to do this one first before we can do these two. Bear with me. All right. Now, the way you calculate the monthly payment, folks, is that we're going to go to a new table. It is the very last table in the book before you get to the calendar stuff. You know that there are two halves to this table. There's a top half and a bottom half. The top half says loan amortization table to pay principal and interest on an installment loan. All right? And notice what the time periods are for that table. Months, right? 6 months to 60 months. Page 45 in your tables if you're not there. All right? So this is the short-term loan stuff, 5 years or less. All right? What is the bottom half of the table? Years. That's long-term stuff. That will be chapter 15. Mortgages. Exactly. We'll get to those. All right? For right now, though, we're going to use the top half of this table. This is how you figure out what your monthly payment is given your APR. Okay? Now, this table is called the monthly payment per $1,000 to pay principal and interest on an installment loan. So what you're going to do is take the amount that you finance. Please base this always off the amount financed, okay? Not off of the price, off of the amount financed. You're going to do this per $1,000. So the first step you have to do is divide that by 1,000. Okay? And then all you have to do after that is multiply by the table entry that you get from this table. And that's it. And the table is as easy as reading the percentage and going down to the row that represents how many years or months of payments you are going to make. Right? So in this table, go to the 8% column, go down to the 4 years of payments. Please realize that 4 years is 48 months. You guys know this, so don't screw that up. 48, what's the table entry? 24.42. Multiply those numbers. That's your monthly payment. Okay? So you should have gotten that my monthly payment for this car is going to be just shy of $550. $549.45. That's not a bad car payment, right? I mean, if you're buying a new car, right?
Do we have your insurance?
Insurance, what's that? All right, so again, one more time, reviewing how to get the monthly payment. Amount financed divided by 1,000 times the table. All right? So, given that this is my monthly payment, how are you going to find out what my finance charge is?
You're gonna take your 549.45 times 40,
Times 48. Why 48?
because that's how many payments you're making.
That's how many payments you're making, yes.
And then you're gonna subtract your amount financed.
Please remember that it's the amount financed and not the price, right? That's the one thing that tends to throw students off every now and then, is that they will use the price instead of the amount financed. So, how much interest am I paying on this car loan?
$3,873.60.
Ouch. Not uncommon on a 4-year car loan. What is the deferred payment price for this car?
You have your amount financed plus your finance charge.
Amount finance plus the finance charge? No.
Finance charge plus the cost.
Huh?
Finance charge plus the cost.
Finance charge plus the real price, right?
Yep.
So it's $25,000 plus the extra $3,873.60. What's the other way that you can figure out how much money you gave this car dealership? The other way is to just actually add up the money that you give them, right? Remember that you gave them $2,500 up front, and then you gave them 48 payments of $549.45. That's the other way to do it. Or $2,500 plus $549.45 times 48. Those two values should always be the same. Right? It should come out to being, 28,873.60 either way. All right? 28,873.60. And for kicks and giggles, folks, what was my APR? Told you it was 8% then. It's going to be 8%. Not bad? So let's do one more just to be safe. Alright, so I bought a
Plus,
finance. Do something interesting? Alright, so I bought a
plus an RV.
okay. I bought an RV for $69,000.
Damn, that's not a small house.
Yeah, I mean it is, right?
RVs on.
Right? I mean, it's one of those big ones, so you can expand the sides out by about 4 or 5 feet, and it's got a toilet, it's got a kitchen, it's got 2 bedrooms, it's got
That's probably a
Built-in
small
bunk
one,
bed.
because my grandparents bought one and it was like 100-some thousand.
well, it's used.
So was theirs.
Mine's really used. I had to put 20% down and financed the rest over 5 years at 10.5% APR. Did I bring my coffee cup? Alright. It's been a rough morning. Alright, so I only want 2 things on this particular problem this time. I want to know what's my finance charge and what's my monthly payment. I have the right to ask you for any of these 6 different things, but I don't have to ask you for them. I can only ask for 1 or 2 or 3 of those things as I see fit. So for this particular problem, I don't care, just give me those 2.
Oh, thanks, you're generous.
I'm a nice guy. Hey, wait a second.
Still gotta do it all.
You still physically have to do it all, of course. I mean, that's kind of the idea anyways, is that I'm going to pick the ones that's going to force you to do everything else anyways. But, just remember that, you got to know all of them to get some of them, so, Alright, so, can I jump right to my finance charge and do it first?
Sure.
Would be nice, but it probably won't work. What do I have to do first?
Figure out how much you're down payment.
Figure out how much your down payment is. Not a bad idea. How much was my down payment? 20% of 69,000. What was that? 13,800. Is that what you said? And why is that important?
Tells you the amount you financed.
Okay, how much did I finance then? Again, price minus the down payment, 55.2. $20 of 20% is 0.2. All right. What did the compliment give you? Geez, look what the compliment gave you. The amount of finance. Oh. I wouldn't like something like that, would I? No. All right. Anyways, all right. So we now have the amount of finance. Great. What do we do with that? Okay, how am I gonna get my monthly payment?
The amount financed divided by 1,000
The amount financed divided by 1,000
times your table.
times my table entry. What's my table entry?
21.49,
Why is it 21.49?
because you have an APR 10.5% for 60 months.
Exactly. 10.5%. Go all the way down to 60 months, because that's 5 years. 21.49. So it's more than likely on the test that I will never ask you for these two, because you always have to calculate them anyways, right? So I won't ask for them, but you will always do them, so be ready. All right, so what did my monthly payment work out to be?
$1,186.25.
No, that's not too bad at all. I thought it was going to be really bad. I mean, it is basically a home monthly payment, though. It's about what my mortgage payment was when I first bought my house. You get Madison, you can't buy a cheap house in Madison. All right, so how am I going to figure out my finance charge then? How'd we figure it out?
Monthly payment.
1186.25 times 60, because 5 years is 60 payments, and then what do? Please make sure you subtract the amount financed, right? Yeah, well, don't look at that number, it'll usually make you sick. So I bought an RV, and a relatively cheap new car too, with the interest payments. All right, so when you are given the APR and the number of years you're paying it over, use this table. This table, folks, you will have to use on the test, okay? The other one, the little small APR table, just on the homeworks. All right? So, that takes care of installment loans. The other type of small term loans that we're going to discuss are credit card loans. All right, so credit cards. First off, the one nice thing about credit cards, folks, simple interest. All right. The finance charge or the interest is computed using simple interest. Now, how do you calculate interest using simple interest? I equals PRT, right? Good review of chapter 10, never hurts. Now, when you are dealing with a credit card, the P that you use to calculate what your interest is going to be is called the average daily balance, which we will learn how to calculate in a little bit. Your R is your rate on your card, right? So if it's 19.9% or 9.9% or 25.99%, whatever your credit card tells you their annual rate is, that's what you're going to use for R. And T will be variant depending on each bill that you get from your credit card company. Because each bill you get will have a different number of days in its billing cycle, right? They try to keep them relatively the same, but they are never the same, folks. And credit cards must use exact interest. They cannot use ordinary interest in any way, shape, or form. That was a law that was passed back in 91, 92. The Fair Credit and Balance Act stated that credit card companies could not use 360 days when they calculated their interest calculations. Now, little tidbit of information about credit cards. The number of days in your billing cycles, most people think that the credit card just always says it's going to be a 30-day billing cycle. Nah. If you read the fine print on your credit card statement every month, it will tell you when you agreed to take this loan with them that they have the right to adjust the number of days in the billing cycle anytime they want, as long as the number of days in the billing cycle are at least 26 days and no more than 32 days. They can't crank out a new cycle in 20 days. That would be against the law. But they get to choose when to cut the billing cycle. Usually it is 30 days, folks, usually. But not always. Now, why would a credit card company want to be able to change the number of days in your billing cycle? So that they can get more money out of you. That's absolutely right, folks. The job of all credit card companies is to make money, period. Okay? So, partially what they're trying to do is to maximize their profit. That's their job. Now, it shouldn't make much of a difference how many days you borrow the money, right? I mean, if it's 28 days, if it's 30 days, I mean, what's the difference between 28 days and 30 days? 2 days, what's 2 divided by 365? That's a pretty small number, okay? So usually the number of days that a credit card company is setting in the cycle is not meant to try and charge you more money in interest. It's meant to try and trick you into not having enough money to pay, right? Where credit cards earn their big profit is not from the interest on their credit card, but on the late fees that they get to collect. I mean, what's the late fee for your average credit card?
26.9.
30 to $75, right?
Oh,
It's- yeah, I mean, that's what the late fee is, right? When you calculate your interest, which we will do here in a little bit, more times than not, the interest on your credit card for a month is somewhere between $5 and $10. Which one's a little bit more profitable to credit card company?
Late payment.
Late fees, right? That's what credit cards want, right? So what they're doing when they're deciding how many days to cut the cycle is watching your buying habits, right? Folks, the credit card company knows way the hell more about you than the government does. Because they see everything you buy. And folks, they store all of that information and they use it against you.
They have a new thing now, if your payment is not processed and posted by the date posted on your statement, they charge you a late fee.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
That I just found out recently.
That's been in the small print forever.
Yeah.
That one's been in there forever.
But
And
I
if you-
paid it, no,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't posted by your payment.
That's right. If you sent the payment on, 2 days before the final due date, guarantee you they're not going to process it until afterwards and hit you for a $40 late.
That's like paying money. Process is through and with.
True. That tends to be why they're trying to push for the online stuff. Now, again, folks, what they're looking for when you're buying things, one, they set up a pattern for how you charge, right? Most of the times they don't care too much about it. But what most credit card companies do is they look for large purchases. When they see a large purchase in your credit history compared to your average, they will always cut your days shorter. Always. Because what's gonna more likely happen when you make a whole bunch of big charges? You're not going to have enough money to pay for it, right? And so the sooner they can get you that bill, and the sooner they can start the clock ticking for collecting late fees and interest payments, oh yeah, they want to do that. So if they see that in 26 days, your normal credit card statement is like $200 or $300, and for some reason this month it's $2,000 or $3,000, 26 days, bam, here comes your statement. Because they're hoping that you don't have enough money to pay it, and you have to pay late fees or interest, and then they get to collect more money from you, right? That's their job, folks. This is what we want them to do. I'm just letting you know that that's the way it works, okay? And again, the other thing about it is that all this information, all this stuff that you're buying, they keep it. And technically they have to tell you if they sell it to people, but not if they sell it to people who are in the same corporation that the credit card company is in. So if Visa, which is owned by, Sears Corporation, wants to sell the information on your credit card to Sears, they don't have to sell it, they can just give it to them, it's okay. And now Sears can look at your credit information and say, oh, all of a sudden you've started buying diapers. And before you weren't. What is Sears going to start doing for you now? They're going to start advertising to you accordingly. They're going to start sending you, in your statement, a notice for cribs, notices for formula, notices for other things that you can buy from them so that they make more money. Right? I mean, this, again, everybody's all worried about how the government is gathering information on us and using it against us somehow. Folks, credit card companies have been doing that for 30 years. And they've been selling it. Right? They've been making profit off of it. I mean, all the government's doing is looking at it and trying to see if you look at porn. I mean, who cares about that, right? That's the way they invented the internet.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Seriously.
You don't think so? Number one moneymaker in the internet, folks.
Always have been.
Always has been. That's right. The oldest profession in the book, folks. Alright, so anyways, the nice part about it is that the interest that they calculate is always good old PRT. Now, we have to figure out, though, how to figure out the average daily balance. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what's the definition of average? How do you calculate an average?
You add all the numbers together and divide by how many numbers you read.
Right. Add the numbers, divide by the total number of numbers, right? That's an average. Perfect. Alright, so, if we have a 30-day billing cycle, how many numbers do I need to average?
30.
30. So you have to have 30 numbers when you go to do it. Alright? So let's find, and I'm going to abbreviate average daily balance by ADB, just so you know, because otherwise I'll misspell the words all the time. Alright, so let's imagine, if you will, that we have one of those credit cards that we sort of have in our wallet as an emergency credit card, right? So there's one you use almost every day or every other day or however often you use your credit card. But you've got that spare one in the back that you never use unless something weird happens, right? Like you dropped your credit card company at the bar the other night, you have to go back and get it, but you need to get gas before you go. That's why you need that spare, right? Because how many of us carry cash around nowadays? Not me.
I don't know.
Don't trust myself with it. Alright, so for this particular credit card stuff, that we have a 30-day cycle, and the only thing we charged on this credit card, the only thing we charged, we made one charge on the, let's say the 17th day for $50. I'm not even going to give you any dates on this. I'm just going to tell you on the 17th day, we charged $50. Alright, that's the only thing on the charge, and now I want to know what was the average daily balance. Now when credit cards were first created, folks, technically what the credit card company tried to say was that they should be able to use your ending balance as the average daily balance instead of the average. And the bankers who were backing that immediately said, no, sorry, that's way against the rules, right? It's just flat out wrong, right? Because if you only bought one thing and you bought it towards the end of your cycle, you really only borrowed money for 2 or 3 days and they were going to charge you 30 days worth of interest.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. Right, so even the bankers agreed that that was mean. Right? And when a banker tells someone that...
Right.
You can't make that money, you can do it now.
Yeah, that's when you know they were going a little bit overboard, right? right? And again, this is sort of the mindset of credit card companies, folks. They are more greedy than bankers, which is, yeah, I mean that gets a little scary. But anyways, okay. 30-day billing cycle. I need 30 numbers. What was my first number? How much money did I borrow on the first day?
0.
Nothing.
For the first 13 days, you should have 0, just to save you some time.
Oh no, we got to go through all of these, right? Because I never know when the number's going to change, right?
And you're a mathematician, huh?
Remember that when we do this class, you always do it the long way the first time, and then you learn the shortcuts. We got to do it the long way first, because you guys aren't going to believe me, right? You're not going to believe me until I write 30 numbers down, right?
I will.
We'll believe you.
Okay, yeah, all right. I'm not quite that much of a masochist, but okay, so we do get to the 16th day, and do realize that on that day that you charged the $50, you borrowed that money for the whole day, no matter what time you bought it. It doesn't matter, okay? You could have bought it at 11:50, you could have bought it at, 2 in the morning, one day, right? So on the 17th, what's my number? $50. Okay, good. Now, what's my 18th number?
50.
What was that? 50. Why is it 50 and not 0? I mean, I didn't buy anything that day.
So it's
Balance.
Yeah, it's still 50. I didn't pay the 50 either, though. So I still had to keep borrowing it. Oh, crap. So this is going to be a 50. What's going to be my 19th number? What? Why is it 50 again? What am I going to do now?
Until 30.
Number 30.
All right, so I now have my 30 numbers. We better write them all down so that we can add them and then divide by 30, right? We better, because you guys won't believe me otherwise. I know you guys. You're very, very untrusting people. So, what do we need to do? We need to add 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, How many zeros are there?
13.
How many? 16, because it's not till the 17th. I don't know if there's really 16 up there. And what's going to follow that last 16th zero? If that's really 16, I don't know if it is or not. Did I get to 16?
I have 14.
It's only 14? Okay, put 2 more in there. You guys wouldn't believe me,
Do you
would
feel
you?
better now?
Alright, what has to follow the zeros now? 50. 50 and 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 how many 50s do I need up here?
14, because 16 plus 14.
Yeah.
How many days are in the cycle?
30.
30, right? So it looks like what's 30 minus 17? 13. But don't forget that doesn't count the first day, right? And you did that over here too, right? Technically, what's 16 minus 1? 15, but you told me that there were 16 zeros, right? Mm-hmm. When you have a range of numbers to figure out how many are in there, you count the number of them, or you take 16 minus the 1, and then you always add 1. Similarly here, 30 minus 17 is 13 plus 1 gives you the fact that there are 14 50s. Did I write 14 down? Did I really?
I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, I did. Hey, cool. I actually wasn't counting. I was just writing. All right, now, do I need to get out my calculator and punch in 50 plus 50 14 times?
Yeah.
What are you going to do instead?
14.
14 times 50. And what is 14 times 50? 700. And what do I have to do with my 700?
Divided by 30.
You're You're averaging, so divide by 30. And yes, your average daily balance is always a dollar amount, so round to the appropriate penny. So what is that, 233.33?
Yeah. $23.33.
Okay, good. Folks,
Wait a minute.
if all you ever did was buy a $50 item, can your average be more than 50? Right, if you don't have any numbers that are more than 50, if you write this number down, because your calculator spit it at you, what did you do accidentally? You put in an extra zero, right? You actually did 7,000 divided by 30. Please stop and look. Giving me numbers that don't make sense doesn't make sense. So look at your numbers and make sure that it's going to make sense. This is $23.33 because that's a number that would make sense at least. When you average a bunch of numbers, some of them are 0, some of them are 50, the number had better be between 0 and 50. All right, so that's how we calculate the average daily balance. Now, how many of you have a credit card that you only use once a month? Yeah, me neither. So, how do we simplify this when we get a more complicated credit card statement?
We call you and have you do it for us.
Oh, Lord, no. You know how to do it now. You see the idea, right? You're looking for how many times does a number repeat, and then when does it change? All right, so let's try another example. So, my credit card. Let's say that I don't have a very good credit card. Charges me 29.9% APR on my. I don't have very good credit, right? And I'm just trying to reestablish, so this is the kind of credit card I can get. Please do remember, folks, that if you pay your credit cards early, you're on time, no interest. Highly recommend that is the way you use credit cards, but whatever. All right, so 29.9%. My billing cycle is, let's do 30 days again, just because it's easier. And starts on, let's say, March 6th. Again, the start date for your billing cycles is weird, but don't worry about it. All right, now, when you guys get your credit card statement, what does it look like? Is it going to give you stuff like this? Where it says on the 0th, on the first day, your balance was blah. On the second day, your balance was... Did they do that? No. What they do is they give you a table. What's the very first thing in the table? The date. And this represents the date of purchase. Again, the date of purchase, it should be the day that you actually bought the item, but again, it is dependent slightly on the business that you bought it from, because if that business doesn't process its credit card slips every night, it may show up a couple of days from now, right? Usually it's right away, but no guarantee. What comes after the date? The description. Where, what, all that other kind of business, right? Basically telling you, well, what did you buy, right? And then what's the last thing in the table? How much you paid for it, what you put on the card, right? All right, so let's assume also that I'm a good credit card holder and I paid off my statement entirely last period. So I'm not carrying a balance over from prior to March 6th. So, let's see, March. What happened in March? Was there anything exciting that happened in March?
Basketball game.
Well, that's
Larry
true.
died.
So on the 10th, that was when it started, right? Was it the second week of March?
Yes.
I had to buy the food for the NCAA party I was throwing, or just same difference, right? So how much, let's see, what did I spend? Like $80? That sounds about reasonable.
That's barely the pot of beer. What you doing? That is the pot of beer.
It was a party of one, okay? Look.
Oh, there you go.
He's not providing the beverages.
Right, he must not at that price.
That's reasonable. I like that idea. And actually, that was I think that we did throw a party right around then too. And I did just make the food, right? And it was one of those parties, where everybody brought beer. And it was
Something.
like, I think somebody bought a case of Rhinelander Shorties.
What is?
Exactly. I was like, what the, where'd you, and I didn't ask, I didn't want to know. So, anyways, on March 15th, it's a credit card. I had to get gas eventually. $40. And then on, let's say the 22nd, let's see, what happened? Dinner. Wife and I went out, $50 dinner. And then on the 28th, it's my last charge on this paltry credit card. I don't use my credit card very much, my wife does, so I don't really buy things. Well, what else did I have to buy? Oh, probably gas again, right? And of course, we always know gas prices are going up, so
Tell me about it.
I have
$3.75.
I have a Honda, so it's only $40 or $50 for me. So I got an 11-gallon tank. All right, so what I want to do now is to figure out, again, what's my average daily balance, and assuming I don't pay my credit card statement in full, how much would I have to pay in finance charges? All right? Now, normally there is another column over here. What's the other column going right next to it? It's the total amount that you have. Technically, they keep a running total for you. So normally this would have been 80, 120, 170, 220, because they want you to know how much you've charged. So at the end, the statement says, you owe us $220, please send it on whatever day, blah, 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 right? All right, so all we want to do for this particular one, though, is calculate our average daily balance. So, how many numbers do I need? I need 30 numbers, right? Because it's a 30-day cycle. All right. What's my first number?
0.
0. And in fact, what's my second number?
0.
Third number?
0.
Fourth number?
0.
Fourth number is 0. What's my fifth number?
0.
When did my billing cycle start?
Oh, the 6th.
The 6th. On the 6th, I had 0. 7th, I had 0. 8th, I had 0. 9th, I had 0. What happened on the 10th?
$80.
It changed, right? So here, I started off by saying, oh, I have 4 zeros, right? And let me be more explicit, right? From the 6th to the 9th, $0. And remember that the 6th through the 9th is 4 days, $0. So I have 4 of my numbers. I need 26 more. And now what you tell me my next number was? It was 80. How many 80s am I going to have?
5.
The 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, right? Technically from the 10th to the 14th. 5 days. So I have 5 80s. What is my next number?
40.
What is my next number?
120.
120, right? Remember that you're adding to your borrowing amount, right? So this is now making my number larger. I now switch to $120. How many 120s do I have?
7.
6.
7.
15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. Remember, the 27 starts a new number, so 7. From the 15th to the 21st, I have 7 days of $120. What's my next number?
And those are 7 days.
How many days?
7.
6, right?
Will be to the 6th of next month.
Hmm?
It'll be 6 days.
Is it 6 days or 7 days? Or 8 days or 15 days? The 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. Remember that this starts the new number, so it's 6 days. From the 22nd until the 27th. Again, inclusive, just like it was over here, right? What's my next number? How many days did that last?
2?
A 1.
What is the 6th of the next month?
Because we have.
So it'll be 8 days.
9 days.
How many days is it?
It's a 30-day cycle,
30-day cycle? Yes, Joe, so what does it have to be?
30 days. And
It has to be a total of 30 days. How many days do I have so far? 22. Gotta be 8 days, okay? Your last number of days, 28th until the end. I don't care what the end of my billing cycle is. You can figure it out if you want, but I don't care, right? I know that I have to have 30 days here, period. So make sure the numbers add up to 30 days in the last row. If you want to tell me that it's April 5th or April 6th or April 7th or April 4th, whatever the heck day it is, doesn't matter. All right? This has to be 8 days. You can figure it out if you want, but again, okay. And normally when you get your billing cycle, a lot of times your credit card company won't even tell you what the end of your cycle is. They'll just say it's 28 days and it started on this day. Because you can add 28 days and get to the next day if you want, but it's not that big a deal. Now, here are my 30 numbers. Oh, wait a second, I don't see 30 numbers, I only see 5. How do we change those numbers so that there are 30 of them? Multiply, yes. Do not write them out. You can, but we did it the long way once already. Let's not do it again. All right? So 4 days at $0. So here, let's make a new column off the side. The total column, where you're going to multiply. 4 days times $0. $0. You had 5 days at $80, $400. You had 7 days at $120, $140. You had 6 days at $170, $1,020. And 8 days at $220, $1,760. Add those babies up. What was that? 4,020? 12, yeah, that's about right. 40/20, so what is my average daily balance? Don't forget that you take your total and divide by your number of days. What'd you say that was? 34? 24, 34? 130, okay. Does that number make sense? You might think it doesn't, right? Because notice, did I ever buy anything that was more than $130? Yeah, most of your month was over $130. These are the real numbers that you represent when you're calculating your average daily balance, right? Is your total statement amount. Okay, so don't freak by the amount that's in this row and base it off of the actual sum total while you're going. Alright? Alright, so there's my ADV. What's my finance charge for this month if I don't pay my balance in full? Simple interest. What's my P? $134. That's the reason why we calculate the average daily balance, because that's our P when we go to calculate our interest, right? What's my R?
Oh, that's my
0.299. It is a percent. If you say 29.9%, that's fine, but you better convert it into a decimal. What's my time? $30, which is... Do I use days when I calculate interest?
30 over 65.
That's right. Please remember this, that time must be in years, so convert those days into years, and with credit cards it must always be exact. So, how much interest do I have to pay if I don't pay my bill in full? What'd you get?
$30.
Yeah, $3.29. That's it. Right? If I paid this credit card late,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, the interest is always going to be relatively low. Almost, I mean, you really have to have a lot of money on your credit card in order for it to, the interest to actually be more than your late payment. A lot of money, okay? So, when you're paying your credit card statements, folks, please pay the minimum amount so that they don't charge you a late fee. All they'll charge you is the 4, 5, 6, up to $10 or so worth of interest, which hurts. I mean, it sucks, right? But it's way better than paying that interest plus a $40 to $80 late charge on top of it. All right? So, the interest is not bad. I mean, it's not good either, right? I mean, and notice I'm paying almost 30% interest, and it was only $3. Granted, it was only a $220 credit card statement, but that's not uncommon, okay? So, when you're working with your credit cards, folks, don't pay that late fee. Good God. That's just them ripping you off straight up, all right? All right, so that was a slightly more complicated example. And at least got us into getting a feel for this. Now, in this particular statement, all we had were 4 charges. So, you know, again, that's, if you can have a credit card statement with only 4 charges on it, you're lucky. Usually my credit card statement is 2 pages. That's beside the point, though. So let's try another one. But let's get this one a little bit more exciting.
Hey.
And I will try and give you a more formalized way of developing these numbers, okay? Generally, I write this one out once so that you can sort of get a feel for it, all right? I'm going to try and show you an even shorter shortcut than this. Again, there's nothing wrong with going about this way, right? I mean, counting up your days and making sure this stuff works, perfectly okay. Right? But I want to show it to you even faster. All right, so let's get a little bit more going on this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's get one more, just for kicks and giggles. All right. So let's assume that this credit card. Let's assume my interest rate's a little bit better. It's 19.99% this time. So I finally got my credit rating back to something almost normal, and my credit card company, being so nice to me, lowered my interest rate from 29.9 down to 19.99%. Unfortunately, I'm carrying over a $200 balance from last month. So last month I didn't pay my bill on time, or I didn't pay my bill at all. They added a bunch of late fees and interest on that statement, and it turned out that there's now $200 on the statement. It worked out exactly, it was lucky. And it makes your lives easier when it comes to writing the numbers down. So be happy with 200. All right, and here comes my next credit card statement, right? So date, description, and amount. And let's suppose that it's a 29-day cycle. And it starts on, let's go with, this was my November cycle, so let's go with November 8th. So I was pulling out my old credit card statements from last year. So, on the 11th, anytime you're, I don't know if you guys do this, but this is one of the things that I try and do, is anytime you're in a date that's the same as the number of the month, you gotta have a little mini, celebration. And so like the 1st of January, you have a little party. 2nd of February, right? I mean, this is the way you always have a day every month that's a little sort of like a vacation day, right? Or a fun day. Usually we go out and have a dinner, right? So, we went out for dinner, and it was a $100 dinner. Usually the dinners on those dates are specialer than the other ones, so yeah. I talk good English, don't I?
That's a gooder.
Yeah. All right, so on the 16th, it's gas again, $50. In addition, at the gas station, I bought $15 worth of food on top of it same day. Because, you get the gas station, right?
Why didn't you just buy it all together? You didn't go inside, or you did go inside?
I did go inside, but I charged it at the pump,
and still went inside.
and then still went inside. Because I didn't think I wanted anything to eat, but after I started pumping the gas, and the guy next to me was going, that was good. And it was like some greasy pizza, or no, actually he was eating a hot dog, one of those things that's been sitting on the rollers for... Those are good?
I have a hot dog roller in my house.
See? And how long have the hot dogs been on there?
12 years.
Exactly! Those are all good. As long as the heat's on, it'll be good. Doesn't matter how old it is. I swear. Alright, anyways. On the 20th, my payment from last month finally showed up. And all I did was pay the minimum balance. The way your credit card company displays payments may vary depending on which type of credit card you have. Some of them will put a little dash next to the number on the right-hand side to indicate that it's a payment, so that you know it's a debit instead of credit. Some of them will put them in parentheses. Some of them will put the minus sign on the left-hand side to tell you it's a negative $40 charge. It just depends on the credit card, but they do have to denote payments differently than charges. They have to. Beyond just writing here, payment. By law, they have to, so that when you're just looking at the numbers, you can say, I can tell this is a payment because of this extra character there. All right? Anyway, I just want to make sure you know that so that you've seen it and you can work with it. And of course, when you get a payment, what do? Instead of adding the 40?
Subtract.
Remember that as we go along. All right? So, on the 21st,
put
When was-
Walmart charge on there, it just don't look right.
Okay. Walmart it is. What did I need at Walmart? On the 21st?
Hair gel.
You cannot go to Walmart and spend less than $100.
You go to Walmart.
Thanksgiving.
If I bought the staples for Thanksgiving, that's probably true. So $100 is probably around reasonable. All right, and then on the 25th, what did I have to buy?
Black Friday.
I went to Walgreens to make up for Thanksgiving, so this was a drug purchase. Antacids.
Only $20 you did not.
She probably bought the generic stuff.
Oh yeah, guaranteed, right? I couldn't even see it anyway, so I just grabbed it. Didn't worry about it. All right, then on the 26th, definitely more gas. And then last but not least, on the 30th, no. I finally started buying my Christmas presents. Let's go with, say, $125. Gotta get your wife something, right?
You cheat.
So, right now you're happy.
Not out. He said he's smart. Yeah, okay.
She gets the credit card the rest of the year.
Yeah.
She get her own gifts. You know how to fix you.
She knows better than to let me buy her a present. Usually then it sucks.
I will pick mine out, that's what I want, that's what you're allowed to buy.
Hey, probably one of the best stories of my married life came one Valentine's Day. My wife agreed when we first got married that Valentine's Day was sort of a joke and that she didn't like it. And I was like, oh great, cool, one less day. Right? So second Valentine's Day that we were married, she came up to me and she handed me a present, said Happy Valentine's Day, and I went, And I was literally close to tears. And she had her other hand behind her back. And so she's like, open it. I'm like, okay.
I saw something too.
And so I opened it up and she'd like bought me a cribbage board or something like that. And then she said, oh, by the way, give this to me. I was like, I can't wait to see what I got you. And I handed her a present. She opened it up. She's like, wow, a bracelet, just what I wanted. How did you know? Best Valentine's Day ever, folks. After that, I was hook, line, and sinker. I was never getting divorced ever because that was awesome. I was so excited because I really was. I was scared for a little while. Anyways, okay, sorry. Side note. All right, so what I want you to do, and this is how I'm going to show you the shortcut technique. Is to make a table.
Ooh, another one. Yeah.
What? That has one extra row. So we're basically going to do this again, except what I'm going to do is to take this information and just put it in the table. All right? Because essentially that's what we were doing here, right? I mean, I was telling you, it's 4 days, $0, and then we multiplied it, right? So really, all I need is this information and this information in a table, and I'm good to go. All right? Now, first thing you have to do, it works the same way, right? Here are my days, and here's the amount. What was my first amount?
200.
200, because before I'd paid off my credit card, this time I didn't. So my amount to start with is the $200. Now, how many days did that last? From the 8th to the 11th, right?
3 days.
3 days, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Or, note, this date is the 11th, this date is the 8th. What's the 11th minus the 8th? 3 days. Alright? What's my next number?
300.
300, right? So now you're just starting to add the amounts. You should be able to fill in this column completely right now, right? And honestly, I think you should do that first. Just put the numbers in there. You know what they are, right? Here, the next number is add 100, this is 300. Go to the next number, it's 50. 350. Go to the next number, 365. Go to the next number, be careful with that one.
You gotta subtract at this point.
That's right, make sure you subtract the 40. So it's 325. Go to your next row, 425, 445, 495, and oh, sorry for that last one, 620. Yeah. All right, so there are your numbers, right? Just by adding or subtracting the appropriate values in your actual credit card statement. All right? And again, this last number is how much you owe, $620, right? That's what your credit card amount you due is. But that's not what they're going to charge you interest on because you want to calculate the average daily balance. Now, our days. You saw that little trick, right? Uh-huh. We did the 8th to the 11th. 11 minus 8 is 3. Guess what the next days are?
11 to the 16.
16 minus 11. What's 16 minus 11? 5 days. Right, so I'll even sometimes put them in here, right? This is 11 minus 8. This is 16 minus 11. What's my next day after 16?
Same day.
Is 16 again. What's 16 minus 16? 0. Don't be afraid of 0. 0 is a wonderful number, right? Basically what it means is that when you have two charges on the same day, what do they do for that one day? Yeah, they basically add those two numbers together for that one day. But this is how you do it using the table, okay? That 0 just makes you do that, right? So what are the next two numbers? 16 and 20. What's my next number of days? 4. What's my next day? 20 to 21, so it's 1. What's my next day? 21 to 25, 4. What's my next day? 1. See, this is 1.
4.
4. And I will always have an extra row. What do I do with the last row? Add them all up and make sure I get the right number of days in my cycle. Right? So it takes a little bit of work, right? 8, 12, 13, 17, 18, 22. I need 29. 7. And now you have your 30 numbers that you need to average together, right? There's 3 200s, there's 5 300s, there's no 350s because that was halfway through the day. There are 4 365s, there are 1 325s, etc. Right?
Correct.
So what are you going to do with all those numbers? Multiply, right?
But wouldn't we be multiplying the 5 times the 350, not the 5 times the 300?
No, it's 5 times 300. The 350 is the first purchase on that day. And remember that we didn't just buy $50 that day, we actually bought $65 that day.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's a 0 in front of the 350. That number actually never was a part of our calculation because on that day we really made 2 purchases.
Okay.
So, gotta get your total, right? 29 days, 3 times 600, 5 times 300. Make sure I do these numbers right, folks. Sorry about that. 1460. 25, 1700. 445. 919 something. 350. Is that what everybody else got? That's about right. Yep. All right. What do I do with that number? Yes. Remember that this is how we get the ADB. It's the sum of all of your numbers. 12,350 divided by the number of numbers, 29. What was my average daily balance?
425.86.
Again, make sure that that number makes sense, right? Remember that our ending balance was $620, so we know we got to be somewhere between 200 and 620, and we're there. That's reasonable. And what would be my interest charge for this month if I didn't pay my balance in full? So again, that's why you calculate the ADB is to P, PRT, rate. Please remember to make that a decimal correctly. And then your time of borrowing. So what did I end up paying if I don't pay this in full? $6.76. Again, don't pay it late. Make sure you pay a minimum payment amount. All right? This is the end of chapter 14. The homework, folks, 2 through 14, the evens, technically number 16. We're not going to talk about revolving credit. Hope you don't mind. So just 2 through 14, just 7 problems on the homework. Realize that most of the problems have multiple parts, like down payment, finance charge, etc., etc., etc.